obviously always good to finish the season, the home season, here with a win, but I have to start with your assist, of course. How much did it mean to you and to your teammates who celebrated so much, you getting to 20 assists?
No, obviously I spoke about that. Everyone knew that it was important that I could get another assist at least, and they've been trying everything they can to score from my passes. Was there probably moments today that I should have passed instead of shoot, and still I got the shot, but I'm very happy for the assist. But more than that, I'm very happy for the win and to finish the season on a high.
And not only the assist, Bruno, but the season you've been having. Elected Footballer Player of the Season for the Football Writers Association, and in a season that hasn't been straightforward to Man United. I know you're always thinking about the team, but do you take a moment to appreciate the significance of all that?
Oh, of course, it's a privilege and a pleasure for me. I won't hide from that. As I want collective awards more than anything, but knowing that your job is being recognized by many people, a lot of players that came out and said, obviously, that for them I was player of the season, is very grateful, and I'm very happy with it.
And of course, now can you get to 21? You almost did today.
No, obviously, I think I got to 20 today. Let's see. We have one more game. Manager will decide who's going to play the next game. I'll be very happy to do it, but if I don't do it, I'm already very happy, because it's the highest that I've always done in my career in the Premier League. So I'm very happy with it.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Afternoon, Michael. After that win, guaranteed third, you had some nice goodbyes for some players as well. Was that kind of, in a way, a bit of a dream afternoon?
It was a good day. Yeah, I think we were really conscious of trying to finish on a bit of a high. You know, I think we've made some really good strides as a group, as a team, and as a group, and as a club. It's easy to get to the stage, and I've been part of it myself, and that extra spark's not there. But so I think to finish like we did for so many reasons was a good day for us. Yeah, for sure.
You said in your speech after that you're hopeful there will be some more big moments and big goals next season. Probably asking you again, but any updates on your future?
Yeah, I'm a supporter as well, so regardless of anything, I want it to be a lot of good moments here. No, I think it's been pretty clear, and from what I said a couple of days ago to you, really, I think it's the same. You know, over the coming days, there'll be clarity in the situation. I think it was a case of today was important about the game and getting the right result, and some individuals as well shining today, and so whatever the news is going to be, I'm sure you'll get it in a few days.
So, Michael, just in terms of like this season, finished third, that's probably as well as anybody would have hoped or expected, but clearly Manchester United, you know, third is not the aim. What needs to happen to move to the next level other than kind of buying better players?
I think there's a couple of sides to it. I think understanding, you know, the position we want to get to from where we've been a little bit, and understanding what steps that needs to take and what we've had to make and I do genuinely think it was a really fantastic achievement to be where we are at the moment. The players deserve a lot of credit for that, and I think you just want to keep improving. As I said it the other day, I think the closer you get to the top of the league, then the harder it gets, and you've got to make big steps, but it's harder to make them big steps. So yeah, certainly evolving the group is one thing for sure. You know, that's no negative on the group as it is now. I think you just want to keep pushing forward. You know, we've got a really good group of players that we want to keep trying to improve and get better. And if that's additions, and some of the younger players will be better for it again with an extra season and experience this club for a year. So you just want to keep moving forward. That's the only thing, and there's not a magic ingredient to doing that. You know, it's hard work, a bit of brains and a bit of intelligence, and a bit of having good players as well.
Sorry.
Hi Michael. Cunha, Bruno and Sesko have all broken double figures now for Premier League goals this season. The recruitment's been very good. Do you think it's realistic for them next season to be with more games as well, looking at the 20-goal mark?
I don't want to put figures on it. I just think it's been a really good first season for all the boys coming in and getting judged on goals and assists. I get that from attacking players, but I think the overall coping and adapting and improving as the season goes, I think is important. Next season, obviously, different little bits of different challenges, and backing it up is another challenge. But yeah, really positive with those players in particular, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Pete?
Hi Michael, what have you said to Bruno in there? Because it looked like at times today that record was...
Yeah, it's a little bit chaotic down there actually on the pitch and the change room, so we've not had massively much to say. I just, it's a tricky one. I think he's dealt with it really well, to be honest, because he can, for me watching on from the side, he's going through at times and you're thinking what's going through his head, you know, is he looking for a pass, is he looking just to score, and is he second guessing it? Well, I think he coped with it fantastically well, and to get the moment, I think today the way he did it was a really nice moment for everybody, you know, and credit to him for that, because it's not easy, but he always puts himself behind the team first, and today was another one of those days, even though he's going to get the praise, because it is a fantastic achievement, obviously.
Hi Michael, we've spoken about a lot of players since you've come in, but one we haven't touched on is Luke Shaw. It felt a year ago like maybe it was coming to the end of his Old Trafford career, and now he's started every Premier League game this season. I mean, how big an achievement is that, and can he do that again next season when it's potentially a 60-game season?
I think it's difficult for anybody to do, to be honest. I think when there's so many games, it's not an easy thing to be able to. Sometimes it's no fault of your own, you know. Unfortunately, injuries and things are part of football, and there's other things that come into play. So to start every game is a really fantastic thing to be able to do. Next season's a new season. There's different types of runs of games, so that, you know, that's part of adapting. But then that's a little bit older and experience and knowing your body and managing things. And he's at that stage, Luke, now where he's got an awful lot of experience. He's been here for a long time. He knows the club. He knows what it feels like. He knows the ups, and he's suffered some of the more challenging times. You know, so next season I think his experience will be valuable, however many games he plays.
Last question for Sam. Just continuing on the theme of Luke Shaw, but also Harry Maguire, Kobe Mainoo, obviously the England squad, so now probably before we see you next. Do you think Luke Shaw would deserve to be in the squad as well as Kobe and Harry, who obviously look back into the fold in March?
I certainly think so, yeah. I've not got much kind of sway in the matter at all, but I certainly think so. I think he's, again, the consistency, just what he's capable of doing, performance, the experience, his strengths, his attributes that he's got. For me, yeah, he's a fantastic fullback. I think between them, I think all three of them have done the chances now on recently, for sure. Alright guys, thanks a lot.
Welcome to another edition of ESPN FC Live. Alexis Nunes here alongside Stevie Nicol, looking back at some Premier League action. Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. Stevie, who said these teams have nothing else to play for? Because I thought that was quite a thrilling game, a little 5-goal thriller. There was so many different things to talk about, but overall, especially that second half leading into stoppage time, entertaining game, Stevie.
Yeah, no question. Second half in particular was great to watch. Both teams going forward, both teams trying to score. Not overly worried about keeping too tight and certainly defending too deep. It was all about who can score. So yeah, for us watching, it was fantastic, and to get goals and opportunities. I mean, Buemo got his goal eventually, but he had 2 or 3 chances that he really should have been putting away, in my opinion. But yeah, it's good to complain about players not taking chances, because that means that chances are created. So yeah, I think second half, open attacking football from both teams, and as you said, pleasure to watch.
Pleasure to watch indeed, Stevie. It made waking up at 7 a.m. worth it. All right, let's get into specifics now, because of course there was a controversial decision, Manchester United getting the 3 points in the end, but there was a controversial decision because there seemed to be a handball on Brian Mbombo. Eventually the referee decided to stick with the decision to award the goal to Manchester United. It happened in the build-up to the play, but Nottingham Forest surely would still be fuming about that, wouldn't they? What did you make of it?
Well, I think it goes in a category of ridiculous decisions. You know, the ball's come across at pace, defender has a swing and a miss, and the ball comes off the hip of Mbeumo, but then it is controlled by his arm. It hits him right in between the elbow joint, and had it not hit him in the arm, he wouldn't have controlled the ball in order to score. So when the referee goes to the side of the field, I think 99% of people watching this figured this was going to be disallowed, because, as I said, there's no question. If it doesn't hit Mbomo's arm, then he doesn't control it. The ball would break away, and it just wouldn't happen. And incredibly, the referee decides that it was okay, and he gives the goal. I mean, it's a shocking decision. It's not a bad decision. It is a shocking decision. The referee who gave that is obviously the only one who thinks that it's okay. Because the reason that VAR asked him to go to the screen to look at it is because they think there's a problem. You know, we always complain that, you know, we want referees to make their own decision.
Yep.
But on this occasion, my goodness, he made his own decision, but it couldn't have been more wrong if he tried.
Yeah, and ultimately that goal, of course, made the difference as Man United ended up getting one more goal than Forest, and that's what.
Actually, the only positive about that decision was that it actually opened the game up big time.
Yeah.
And so we spent the rest of the game just looking at the penalty box. You know, we complain about, there's nothing happens in the penalty box. Well, my goodness, after that goal, it was just take turns getting forward and try to get shots off. So. The only positive for them, a horrendous decision, was it completely blew open the game. That gave us such a great finish.
Yeah, it was truly a great finish. It was also an emotional finish for Casemiro when he was substituted. Of course, we know now that he's leaving Manchester United at the end of the season. That was his farewell to the home crowd at Old Trafford, Stevie. If we just look at his contributions for Manchester United and the kind of legacy that he leaves behind, because when he left Real Madrid, we spoke at length. And of course, this isn't the Casemiro that we saw at Real Madrid. That was such, on a different level. But overall, in terms of looking back at his career at United, what he brought and what he's leaving, what would you say it is?
Well, what I would say is that the last 3-4 months have been enjoyable they've been enjoyable for Man United, but they've been enjoyable for Casemiro. You know, Casemiro came to United at a time where they were so unsettled, both on and off the field. And as you said, you know, he was on the other side of his career. And his performances were up to the standard of what he was capable of. You can't say that he didn't play his part. But what I like about what happened today was the fact that the last 3 to 4 months have been smooth and positive for United means that it's been positive for Casemiro. Casemiro, by the time of the end of Amarin's time, wasn't on the field. Casemiro hardly played. He was coming off the bench or he was being subbed early. You know, it wasn't exactly a fantastic time for him. But this last 3 months under Carrick, he's played all the time, he's played well, he's scored goals. And today when he came off, he got such a great reception. And I'm glad for him because his career deserves that. And it was good to see everybody giving him a standing ovation. So yeah, nice one.
Do you think United currently have enough to fill those Casemiro-sized boots come this summer, or are they going to have to recruit that specific area?
Look, I think there's no question that Manchester United are going to have to recruit heavily. You know, I'm not talking about a couple of players. They really need reinforcements. Number one, because they need quality numbers. Because you know, this season isn't going to happen again for a long time. You know, the fact that they were knocked out of the FA Cup early, the fact they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup early. You know, nothing going on in Europe. I mean, for Carrick, it was great. It means that it was one game a week, and so they were very comfortable in the end in third place. But that's not going to happen next year. They're going to be involved for probably through the next year in competitions, and so they need numbers, and so they need to buy quality, but they also need to buy real quality if they want to be challenging for the Premier League and not just qualifying for the Champions League. if they want to do something in the Champions League, again, they need to strengthen and they need quality. I would suggest they need 5 players, 5 top quality players, if they want to be challenging for the top honours. But if nothing else, they do need at least another 5 players to fill the squad out, because they will be playing in more competitions. And yeah, I mean, we'll say it's easy to play 1 game a week. It's not easy. You still got to get it done. But I tell you what, it's twice as hard when you're playing twice a week. That's for sure.
Well, somebody who I think can say their position is pretty safe at Manchester United is Bruno Fernandes. He got another assist today, and he's now equaled the Premier League assist record. For those of you that love to get assists in terms of stats that you hold highly, he's now equaled the joint record that was held by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. Stevie, but just one word again on Bruno Fernandes, who I think this season has definitely underlined his importance for the club.
One word: fantastic.
Yeah,
he's been fantastic. I mean, we saw again today, not just the fact that he's assisting, some of his long range passing. I mean, you talk about spot on. I mean, how do you turn a 50-yard pass into making it easy for the guy receiving the ball to control it? I mean, yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic all season. Yeah, he's no question, and to carry Man United, because that's what he's done. He's the man that's carried United for the season, and to do that with such a big club is immense, and he deserves all the credit that he's receiving, and he will receive certainly between now and the World Cup. Yeah, he asked for one word: fantastic has to be the word.
Well, Elliot Anderson, you could say, was fantastic as well for Forest. He had 2 assists. And speaking about assists, we know that Manchester United reportedly are interested in him as well. Do you feel he possesses the quality that Manchester United will need next season, as you pointed out, because they will be back in the Champions League, will need to rotate, will need to balance all the domestic cups as well as Europe?
100%. He would absolutely make United better. He would make any team better. I mean, his emergence has been incredible since he came from Newcastle, to the point where I think he's guaranteed a start for England in the World Cup. That's where he is right now. And again, like Bruno today, we saw why. I mean, he's everywhere. And he's not just everywhere, he's making fantastic passes, cutting things out, starting attacks, getting up the edge of the penalty box. I mean, yeah, he's really emerged into an incredible player, and absolutely, if Manchester United can afford them, they should go and get him, because he will make them better.
And then finally, for Forest now, of course, they've flirted with runs in Europe as well. That unfortunately for them came to an end at the hands of Villa. They were in a bit of a relegation scrap, but I think we can say now, Stevie, that despite the loss today, they are pretty much safe. Just overall, looking back at their season 2 and what they can build on and how they would take today's game.
Well, I think today they will be happy that they're safe. But I think they'll be disappointed in the season after last year. Yeah. It was always going to be difficult to replicate what they did last year. But there's been a lot of turmoil, particularly in the first, 6, 7, 8 months maybe of the season. Mm-hmm. And it's only recently that they've actually settled down into a pattern of good performances and getting results. And they thoroughly deserve to stay in the Premier League. They're way better than Spurs and West Ham, in my opinion. So yeah, they'll be happy to stay up, because certainly at one stage they were one of the favourites to go down. But in terms of last season to this, they'll be disappointed that they couldn't get close to what they did last year.
And then just a final word as well on Forest. Speaking about Morgan Gibbs-White, you spoke about Elliot Anderson in terms of the England perspective, because of course now we're getting ready for the World Cup. What did you make of Morgan Gibbs-White, and did he do himself a world of good enough to be a part of the England setup? Well,
actually, during the game, I'm thinking, do I take Morgan Gibbs-White, Cole Palmer? Do I? Which one do I take? If I'm choosing one, I'm taking Gibbs-White. Mm-hmm. I mean, because throughout the season, you know, we've just been talking about the struggles of Nottingham Forest this season. But this guy, throughout the season, through the struggles and of course the positive end to the season, this guy's been doing it. This guy's been creating. This guy's been scoring goals. So again, for me, I'd have to say he would be ahead of Cole Palmer if it comes down to it. For me, Cole Palmer has done nothing particular in the season. Certainly hasn't done anything since he came back from his injury. So yeah, I mean, Phil Foden, you can throw Phil Foden in as well. Would it take Phil Foden, Palmer or Gibbs if it comes down to it? You'd have to say right now that Morgan Gibbs-White is streets ahead of those two. Now, it depends what Tuchel's thinking. Does he need somebody just to come on for 20 minutes and just possibly do something outrageous? Maybe that tilts it towards the other two. But in terms of level of performance, there's no question Gibbs-White's level of performance has been superb all season.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely leave it at that. We're going to go back because there's plenty more Premier League games going on very shortly, and we will be back after Newcastle United up against West Ham United. We'll see if West Ham can do themselves a bit of a favour or not. Stevie doesn't look very positive. Thank goodness we don't have our Shaka Hislop nearby, but that is the Shaka Hislop Classico if I've ever seen one. We'll see who comes out on top. We'll see you next time.
Thierry Henry has sent a strong message to Mikel Arteta ahead of Arsenal's massive Premier League clash against Manchester City, and he didn't hold back. The Arsenal legend warned that talk is cheap unless it's backed up on the pitch, especially with such a defining test coming up this weekend. While the Gunners secured their place in the Champions League semi-finals after goalless draw against Sporting CP at the Emirates, Henry made it clear that the performance simply wasn't good enough. Yes, Arsenal got the job done, thanks to their 1-0 win in Lisbon, but managing just one shot on target at home raised serious concerns. And against a team like Manchester City, Henry believes that level just won't cut it. Now, all eyes turn to the Etihad Stadium, where Arsenal face the league leaders in what could be a title-defining showdown. Arteta's side currently holds a 6-point advantage, but City still have a game in hand, and recently beat Arsenal 2-0 in the Carabao Cup final. The stakes couldn't be higher. "I want to see that fire at the Etihad," Henry said on CBS Sports. "It's easy to talk, but go there, against Manchester City, and show what you're made of." Henry made it clear that while he believes in Arteta and the direction of the team, belief alone isn't enough. "I believe in what I see, I believe in him, in that fire. But when you say things like that, you have to deliver. And I didn't see it tonight." Despite his criticism, Henry acknowledged the significance of reaching the Champions League semi-finals, something that doesn't come around often. "We're through, and I'm very happy. A semi-final, it's huge. I never won it, but I did win the league. Now go to Manchester City and win. That's what I want to see. I believe in Mikel, yes, but show it." When asked how Arsenal should approach the game, Henry was blunt. "Not like tonight. Not like against Bournemouth, or Brighton away, or what I've seen at times this season." And when questioned whether the performance against Sporting would be enough to beat City, Henry laughed. "The Manchester City I've seen recently? They've won 4 in a row, and even Liverpool were in the mix. It could have been more." Still, Henry remains hopeful. In fact, he's been consistent in his belief since the start of the season. "I truly believe we can win the league this year. This is our biggest opportunity to prove, as a team, that we are capable." But for him, it all comes down to action, not words. "I'm sitting here in the studio, there's nothing I can do. But I've heard fire. Now I want to see that fire at the Etihad." One moment that stood out to Henry was Declan Rice's reaction at full time. Look at his face. Go back and watch it. A lot of players were smiling, but his expression, "I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to him to understand what he was thinking." This is a guy who just reached a Champions League semi-final. Henry made it clear, there's no negativity in celebrating the achievement, but expectations must remain high. "This is huge. Congratulations. It doesn't happen often in our history, so of course I'm happy. But against City, I want the team to win, not settle for a draw. That's it." Arsenal head into the clash with just one win in their last 5 matches across all competitions, including a 2-1 defeat to Bournemouth in their most recent Premier League outing, a reminder that improvement is urgently needed if they want to make a true statement against City. The pressure, therefore, is not just about one match, It's about momentum, identity, and belief at the most critical stage of the season. Inside the Arsenal camp, there is a clear understanding that performances must match ambition. Arteta, speaking after the draw with Sporting, admitted that his team has to improve a lot, particularly in the final third, where their lack of creativity and cutting edge was evident. While defensive discipline has been a strength, the inability to control games and create consistent chances is beginning to raise questions at exactly the wrong time. That concern is echoed by pundits and former players across England, many of whom agree with Henry's assessment. The general feeling is that Arsenal have shown resilience, but not the dominance expected of a team aiming to win both the Premier League and compete deep into the Champions League. Declan Rice, however, has taken a different stance. The midfielder has brushed off external criticism, insisting that the squad remains fully focused and unaffected by outside noise. Internally, there is still strong belief that this group has what it takes to deliver in decisive moments. Rice's mentality reflects a dressing room that is trying to stay grounded, even as scrutiny intensifies. The upcoming clash with Manchester City is now being framed as more than just a top-of-the-table encounter. It's a defining test of Arsenal's maturity. City, with their experience and relentless consistency, represent the benchmark. Pep Guardiola's side are known for stepping up in exactly these moments, and their recent run of form only reinforces the scale of the challenge. For Arsenal, the narrative is clear: promise is no longer enough. After coming close in previous seasons, this is the point where they must prove they can handle pressure, respond to criticism, and deliver when it matters most. Supporters are divided. Some see this as the perfect opportunity to make a statement and silence doubters. Others share Henry's caution, worried that recent performances hint at vulnerabilities that City are more than capable of exploiting. What happens at the Etihad could shape the remainder of Arsenal's season. A strong performance, not just in result, but in attitude and intensity, would reinforce their title credentials and validate Arteta's project. A weak display, on the other hand, would only amplify doubts and hand momentum back to their closest rivals. In many ways, Henry's words have already done their job. They've sharpened the focus, raised the stakes, and set a clear expectation. Now, all that remains is for Arsenal to respond, not with words, but with a performance that proves they truly belong at the top.